Okay, what I'd like to do is just take some of the points that have already been covered and give you a perspective from BT. BT as a communication services partner for the Games. BT is a big organisation who has to keep all of its business as usual operations running during what you've already heard will be a very challenging time. And as an organisation who have never sponsored the Olympics before, who were involved in the original bid and have spent a huge amount of time trying to figure this out, talk to lots of people who are much more experienced in this than we are, talk to a lot of other countries, and we found some pretty good similarities across all of the games. And I also want to share some research that we've done in Vancouver post the Games in terms of businesses' experience. And whilst the Winter Olympics is, in terms of scale, is much smaller than a Summer Olympics, we still think there's some interesting lessons there. Now, you'll be glad to know I'm not going to reprise all of this, and if you haven't already, you will be hearing from lots and lots of people that the Olympics is really, 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 really big, and the Olympics is not just London, it's all across the UK. And all that's true, but you won't get it. You won't get it until a few weeks or months before the Games and the torch relay starts, and then you'll suddenly get it. You have no idea what is going to hit this country. It was really interesting. I spent a bit of time recently with people from the Economic Development Agency in British Columbia, who talking about the Games and how they staged it and the impact. And it was really fascinating in that you'll recall that the Winter Olympics got off to a really quite a bad start. They had that very tragic fatality, and they were getting absolutely pilloried in the press, and actually particularly the British press, because they're good at that, that it was actually a fiasco, it was the worst Games ever. And they were quite open about that. But what was really interesting is what they then said is within a few days, the whole country just changed, and the whole country got Olympic mania. And they got all of the spectators and all of the traffic and all of the travel issues in the places they expected, but they also got them in places they didn't expect across all of Canada, particularly around the live sites, across the whole of Canada. And I think what you'll find is I think Hugh made the point earlier, is that that this will be very focused around London, but the live sites, and there are 30 official live sites that are going to be across the UK, the kind of Henman Hill type screens. There will also be thousands of non-official ones that will get a license from the BBC to show the content. And in Vancouver, the one thing that they found is they were just stunned with literally hundreds of thousands of people choosing to share this as a social experience. And one thing we've consistently found, and I'm talking about Vancouver, but it applies to a lot of the other games, is that will happen here. So everyone will be focused, will it be on time, will it be on budget, and will be all the things about the tickets and tickets for young people and things. But then suddenly the country will switch, and it will be big. And that may or may not be a business opportunity for you, but it will be big. So just to talk a little bit, we are very proud to be the communication services partner for the Olympics. We're providing all of the fixed and mobile communications and all the web hosting for all of the websites for LOCOG. We're a sustainability partner, so we're doing a lot of work with the ODA and the Olympic Park Legacy Company on making sure this Games does have a sustainable legacy. And we're very, very involved, and it's a very, very big investment for us. For us, actually, that's fantastic. We're also separately providing a TV network for Olympic Broadcast Services, who have the job of managing the TV rights and all of the 7,000 hours of high-def TV from all across the UK back to the International Broadcast Centre, which for us as a communications company is quite a big gig, if not for anybody else. So for us, why are we doing it? It's really simple. It kind of is the ultimate right first time high bandwidth convergent network project. You kind of feel that if we can do that, then that's, if you're in our business, is a really good thing to do. It gives us a huge amount of challenges, but also helps us in many ways. So I'm not, we're from BT, so you have to have at least one sort of networkish diagram, so I've only kept it to one. But we're building a whole series of infrastructure in the different venues, in the park, linked across London, across the southeast, and across the UK. And there's a separate version of that that will also handle all of the broadcast piece. Now that's fantastic, and if we get it right, it's really quite exciting. If we get it wrong, it's really rather career limiting for me and many hundreds of others in BT, and we would do a generation of brands damage. So it really does give us an amazing amount of challenges, and all the things you will have heard about from Hugh and from Stuart, we have to manage all those issues as well. And we are spending a huge amount of time as a team looking at all of these issues. So, for example, travel and transportation, we have to get engineers and spares and things, not only in the Olympic venues, but in all the areas across London. That is a huge, non-trivial challenge. And we're doing a lot of work, as you would imagine, with all of the people to do that. The whole security area is a huge issue. Forget the exact statistics, but literally there were tens of millions of cyber attacks during Beijing every hour. Tens of millions. So as the hosting organisation, and for many organisations, you will read about it in the press, that is a big issue. We have to do a lot of things about that. All of the basic things about our supply chain, we are doing a huge amount of work using all of the business continuity management frameworks you would expect us to use in order to do that. Because clearly we can't, have the TV screens go down when Usain Bolt hopefully breaks the world record again, and things like that. So the other thing I would say is these things are very time consuming, they always take longer than you think. You do have to start looking at them quite early. Now, we've, as an organisation who've never done the Olympics before, we were really interested in looking at what was the impact on businesses. Really. And we did some research on a whole raft of different businesses across different sectors, both public sector and private sector, and asked a few questions. And I've picked out a few slides which I just thought would be quite interesting. So overall, sort of 3/4 of businesses, with hindsight, and this research was done at the back end of September. So sort of 6 months or so, I guess, after the Games, 5 or 6 months. Half of them felt that they took full advantage, 20% of them made absolutely no preparations at all.